points I have to make before we go into details of this opening. If black plays bishop e7, remember, you should never let black to develop bishop on f5. If you let black develop bishop on f5 and play c6 and followed by knight d7, that means you did something wrong. And let's see why black cannot do it. After bishop e7, you go normal e3 move. Now let's see where, in what position, black can play bishop f5. Bishop f5 in this position is a real bad idea. Simply because white can play bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, queen b3, attacking pawns on d5 and b7. It's a double attack. White wins a pawn, gets winning position. So bishop f5 cannot be played yet, that means. So after e3, bishop f5 is not good. And if black plays c6 in this position, then we go bishop d3, and there is no more bishop f5. Now let's try a different attempt. In a position when white played bishop g5 after 4 moves, suppose now black plays c6 and after e3 bishop f5. Now this is not good position either, but there is different reason. We are not going to win a pawn here. We cannot win a pawn, but we can get an advantage two different ways. There is a move queen to b3 attacking b7 pawn, which is not easy to defend. In b6 is a bad move because creates bad weakness on c6, and after white plays knight f3, bishop e2 and castle short, they put rook on c1 or they play knight e5, and c6 pawn for black is a big problem. So the way to play after queen b3, d7 pawn has to be protected, and if black plays queen b6, then after queen takes b6, a takes b, and bishop takes f6, black has bad pawn structure, and white has an advantage. In my opinion, the way you should play here, just simply go king d2, because you want to exchange light square bishops, play bishop d3, and then black has bad pawn structure. Again, I don't think we have time to go into details how to play against those weaknesses, but this is how you should play against pawn weaknesses. It's not the subject that has to be covered on the opening tapes. That's the subject it's how to play chess in general, and that's something you have to use common sense and get information from some other sources we cannot cover on this CD. So this way we realize that when we play bishop g5 in this position, we just played bishop g5, black cannot play bishop f5. So black plays bishop e7, we go e3, and when black castles, we go bishop d3 already. Now after c6, queen c2, you see that we have a threat of bishop takes f6, followed by bishop takes h7. So, most common move here in this position is knight d7. It's the only move that makes sense. Knight f3 and the rook to e8. Well, in this position, that's where we start. That's where we have choice 1. We can castle long, or we can castle short. I play this position for white all the time, and I choose either one of these continuations. I like them equally so I can castle short or queenside. It's a matter of taste. Now, if you like to castle queenside, now, briefly, I'm going to introduce you to the plan for white. What white wants to do, you know, as a general rule in chess, when sides castled on opposite, when you castle on opposite sides with your opponent, there will be attack would be launched against each other's kings. So what your plan is to go king b1, h3, g4, possibly knight e5, f4, and so on. That's what your plan is. What black's plan is, black has to do one of two things. Either they have to go knight e4 and try to simplify and try exchange pieces, or try to go for counterattack with a5, b5, a4. Now, counterattack, interestingly enough, in this position, is counterproductive. Well, for instance, move like b5 is not a good move, because you go king b1, and when white goes a5, all of a sudden, black is in big, big trouble after knight e5. By creating knight e5, believe it or not, you already won a pawn. You're attacking two pawns. What kind of two pawns? One is on c6, and where is the other pawn we're attacking? You're attacking h7 pawn by playing knight to e5. How you do that? You want to play knight. You see the h7 pawn is protected by knight on f6. And if we take bishop takes the knight on f6, that's protected with a knight on d7. So if we start exterminating those knights, starting with d7, for example, black protects the pawn on c6. We take knight on d7, followed by taking knight on f6, and followed by taking pawn on h7. So black is going to lose a pawn for nothing. And the plan remains the same after that, g4 and f4 and g5. So black has to be very, very careful not to lose material in this position. So when they go b5 and a5, and also once white plays, they cannot go b5, so they may try to go queen b6, but queen b6, then we can still go knight e5, followed by f4 and g4. That's the main plan, and that's all you have to know to get to this middle game. That's sufficient enough for you to get decent position where you know what to do in the middle game. Now let's go back and get the position with castling to short side. So let's quickly arrive to the same position, d4, d5, c4, e6. Now we're going to go quickly to arrive to that position, knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5, bishop e7, e3, c6, castle, queen c2, knight d7, knight f3, rook e8, and here we are castling short. Now, you may prefer this. It's a matter of taste, as I said. There is no such a thing that this is better than that. This is maybe better for one player, and castling long may be better for different player because it suits better his style. Now, when you castle short, what is your plan here? There is only one plan for white here, to play on a queen side. And white has to get pawn minority attack. Well, how this may look, let's look. Knight f8. One of the possible continuances, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, b4. Basic plan, you can play bishop takes f6 and b4, or you can go rook b1, preparing b4. The bottom line is b4 is the plan. You want to go b4, you want to go b5, you want For example, on knight g6, b4,